Nah, I don't want to become a statue. Ooh, that's gonna be terrifying. Welcome everyone. I'm Chill.
And I'm Julie.
And we are
Two VTubers.
You know what? Just because I want to watch it too again, just because I want to watch the first Vidoc, and so that way anyone who hasn't seen it can watch it. I loved it. This right here cuts so deep.
There's a line that emerged in Destiny 1 that wasn't planned for, but is very deliberate by the person who put it in the game, and is very resonant for Destiny players, and resonant for me as a person. And that line is, Guardians make their own fate.
Mm-hmm. We always have.
That still gives me goosebumps. For me, that has sort of become a touch point for the Destiny story. Again and again, external forces come and try to impose a fate upon you and humanity.
I was there for all of it. Mm-hmm.
And again,
I was there for Savathun.
They can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
We make our own fate. That's not just a powerful theme of Destiny, it's also a powerful theme for us as people, as both developers and as humanity. We make our own fate.
And we always will make our fate. We will become legend.
When you're talking about 10 years of story, there's a lot of stuff crammed in there, and there's a lot of things that we could do and could talk about. But as storytellers, the hardest part isn't coming up with the ideas, it's knowing which ones are the important ones.
Mm-hmm.
We want to tell a story that makes you, the player, feel like all of that time.
I will say this cutscene was such a head scratcher because we had no context as to what the hell was going on. We didn't know. We were just like, huh? But now that we know that the witness was trying to contact us in a mirror image of ourselves, that adds so much more depth to it. But at the time, people were like, what the hell's happening? We just saw pyramid ships and we're just like, oh no.
That you invested, we saw you, and we want to give you the experience that you've been waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
We looked at everything we had, we laid it all out, like whiteboards and like everything.
We were trying to look for a theme that felt resonant, not just for this story, but for Destiny as a whole.
Oh yeah,
and
the bird.
Thing that we kept coming back to was purpose.
And there's all the ghosts.
And that's what this story is about, not just for ourselves as the player, but also for our characters.
I used to think I'd give anything to bring you back.
If I could not think of a better person to take over Lance Reddick's voice role as Zavala than Keith David. Just listen to that line again, just the way Keith delivers it. He's an amazing voice actor, but just
not just
for truly take it in,
but also for our characters.
I used to think I'd give anything to bring you back.
Just Keith, I know, can deliver the most impactful performance to Zavala for the end times. I know it. That's why.
I cried quite a few times doing.
I'm a cry too
because I treated it with the love of a fan. Every time I opened a script, I was like, what would I want to see? What would I want to hear?
10 years worth of story, and then how come more than half is vaulted? Funny thing with that there is a thing I read about. I'll tell you after this, but there's a thing involving that I heard about, and I don't know if it's true, but I'll let you guys know after this.
You get to see their emotional journey, the struggle of how do we defeat the witness.
Let's bring an end to your futile exertions.
The witness sees itself as the one true God. So it's come to the Traveler because it needs the power of the Traveler's light to finish this vision.
Its goal is salvation. Why don't you want that?
Be reborn.
Nah, I don't want to become a
Make
statue.
sure that we can prevent it from getting the light, the thing that it needs, in order to make it all happen.
This thing right here was so disturbing. It had a perfect copy of the Vanguard table.
Finally confronted the Traveler, and here we are, thorns in its side, a blip on its radar, trying to make a difference.
You're gonna speak to the Witness, and the Witness is gonna shine a light on some things. And you wonder, like, what would it be like? What would it be like to be a disciple of the Witness?
Your guardian's use has yet to be determined.
Oh,
We're in need of a god killer.
that, just, because I already know when this scene happens, no music's going to be playing. It's going to be silent, and it's just the Witness and the reverberation of his voice, the echo.
God killer.
I'm up on the other
Every
side.
time you hear the Witness, you're not just hearing one voice, you're hearing whispers in the background, you're hearing all of these other textures.
You're still resisting.
You can feel a subtext sometimes where the real Witness comes through, or at least things that it doesn't want you to know about it come through.
There is only suffering.
Putting characters into pressure cookers is what storytellers do best. And I can't imagine a more intense pressure cooker than it's the end of the world. If we fail, everything is frozen forever, and only we can do it. It's just the handful of us inside of a god.
Oh, God.
There were a couple of themes that we had when we started on the Feel Hard. The two main ones that I remember were surreal and shattered to spire.
Seeing how they put a tiny little
Oh,
guardian
yeah.
at the
When I
beginning
heard
of this.
when I heard the Witness get like angry and rage like that, I'm like, oh, we have yet to see the true character of the Witness. And I'm just like, oh, like we saw the glimpse in Lightfall with him getting angry at Callus. Like it's splintered off for a little bit, and we saw that overlooming shadow over him where he immediately just tucked his tail between his legs and like, yes, of course, whatever you want. We're gonna see that, and that's gonna be terrifying. That's gonna invoke some fear that people aren't ready for.
Vast journey that's spreading out in front of you really put into perspective the scale that we needed to hit in order to make the Pale Heart look and feel dangerous and ambitious and vast.
When we were thinking of surreal things, it was a bit of a challenge, because how do you make something surreal? For me, is putting familiar things out of context. What is the thing when you turn the corner that you are not expecting? So that's when we play with scale, we play with unexpected things, repetition.
There's this
That I thought
awesome
was
piece
so
of
interesting,
concept
but I
art
loved
that
it.
is like this massive ghost in the horizon, and you just like go over there, and it's
I
just,
hope
like,
this
broken
exists,
down
where that
in the
giant
middle,
ghost is there,
it's just
and we go
weird
inside
in
that
a way
ghost.
That is unsettling, but at the same time feels very visceral.
Another one that we used was body parts, and it sounds a bit strange.
Yeah, I was gonna
We
say
didn't
the
wanna
hands
do
was a little
body
weird.
horror. So I was taking screenshots from the game and just trying to find silhouettes and things that would look surreal. And I start replacing all the trees with hands. So all the limbs
That
were
is
made out of
so
fingers
oof.
coming out, and eyes were on the floor. And I do remember our direction was like that.
Is the Witness trying to merge with the Traveler? It's trying to use the light from the Traveler to make its perfect reality with the darkness. It needs both the light and dark to shape its reality that it sees is the one true way of the universe, the final shape of how it should be. If you remember going into Vow of the Disciple and Root of Nightmares, those creatures that were put in like a comatose stasis where they're alive in there, but they're not allowed to live. Like they can't move or do anything. They're just alive in a static position. That's all they are. The Witness believes that's like the one true shape for all of life to be, just alive, coexisting, everything at peace, but no one's actually living. So there can't be chaos. It's trying to control chaos because that's what it sees the Traveler as, and it believes it to be an enemy, like a a force of destruction and not a force of good. So that's why. That's what the reality it's trying to shape for everything. That's what the theory is. The theory is that it's trying to put everything into a solid stasis to where everything's alive, but nothing's allowed to do anything or move or nothing. You are all static, comatose, but alive. So that way there can't be chaos. The universe will be in a true final shape of no chaos. Everything is at peace. Imagine you just a guardian just standing there, but that's it. That's you can't do anything. You're alive there, conscious, but you can't do anything. You're just there. And you're forced to just be there. You can't do anything. So it's gonna be, that's the theory with it right now, and that's just gonna be, I'm afraid to see what's gonna happen. And also, this, can I just point out, this is the freeway where we came back as Guardians for the first time. They put that subtle homage in there, but twisted it. Because look, see, we're getting closer to where the witness is going to be. So that just, it tilts it and just, it puts a darker turn when you see that flash of where we first resurrected back on the highway on the Cosmodrome. And now you see the hands coming out, holding up the highway. And it's,
Yes.
Exactly. Everything's alive, but they're not living.
You'll recognize it instantly, and then almost as quickly, you'll realize you've never been here before.
I definitely feel like there's some aspects of the Pale Heart where like, this is freaking weird and scary. I want to take that risk. I want to push a...
Whoa. Hold on. I just want to point this out.
This is freaking...
That is Zavala's head with like a tendril coming out the side. Look at that. Yeah, that's Zavala's head. And just the tendril coming out the side there. No, it's coming out of his mouth. That's very Dead Spacey. Oh my god.
Scary. I want to take that risk. I want to push a little bit of what expectations of a destination.
Honestly, yeah, we're kind of going backwards in time.
As players progress, they get to see more influence of the witness, not just on the traveler, but also on the races that it's interacted with that we've seen so far.
Oh, the tormentors. The dread.
The dread are a result of the witness experimenting with the light. So while it's inside the Pale Heart, it's able to access the light as it's trying to siphon it. It is using that light to create and alter new and different combatants. And so we've
I'm ready to fight the dread.
These members before. Now we have a name for them.
The new dread units. They're using a new language, collaborating with narrative. We went through and used this
so good
language tool to generate different phrases and figure out like grammar structures and other things.
This I thought was interesting.
The language that the new dread units speak is actually translatable. So players, if they're really interested in figuring out what the pyramid units are saying, could decipher these. Kos yen itget.
Yep.
Vaktoku vakad. The husks are an interesting addition to Destiny because you've never fought anything like them before.
The husks are gonna be so cool but so terrifying.
Oh yeah, they need some big weapons. Like it needs to look like.
Just imagine Thrall juiced up on roids, their defensive armor, and the best way to take them out is shooting them in the chest. Ugh, it's terrifying. And they have those blades that will deal chunks of damage.
Like, this thing is serious business.
Oh, and they can send a blast out of energy too, so they have a ranged attack. Okay, that's great.
2-in-1. As the sketches were progressing, we were kind of like, oh, this feels like it's sentient, and we just love the idea.
We had all these different sound effects in our library of water bladders that make some really cool sounds when you're shaken. We used some sounds of slapping jello too.
That is such an interesting thing to me. That's why I love sound design, because all the crazy shit you hear in like movies and stuff like that, it's simple stuff like that, just distorted and altered in ways to make it sound otherworldly, but it's just stuff like that.
So that was kind of the foundation for the husk. We have all these real physical sounds that come together and feels like an alien.
Listen to that water effect.
This thing. The collaboration between the different disciplines and the trust we have for each other. At the end, it comes out better than anybody could have made individually.
Oh, this scene right here.
There's a moment where you realize, look.
See, that there just puts everything into perspective. Just that little scene, even though we're probably going to see that in the final shape, seeing that little scene right there of a guardian walking through the town, seeing kids looking at the guardians and everything, it puts everything in a new light. Because we never thought about just like humanity as a whole because we never interacted with them. It was just us, the Guardians and the Vanguard and all that. But now seeing this, it kind of puts a new perspective to it, and it just there's more at stake.
Looking at the final shape, that it's not just a story about the Guardian's journey, it's also kind of the story of Destiny's journey. It starts in a place of uncertainty and challenge, and then it changes and evolves, and it proceeds forward into the unknown. And as you get closer to the final shape, those two experiences converge. We know where we're going, we know where we're aiming for.
I feel very confident about the love and the work and the thoughtfulness that everyone working on this release put into it. And I think it's inevitable that when people start going in and experiencing all these different things that make up this expansion, I think they're gonna see it.
I won't lose another soldier in this war.
Amen, Zavala. I need it. I need it. I need it already. I can't wait anymore.